Friday the 10th of April from Urbis across Greater Manchester. This is Channel M's Lunchtime News and these are today's headlines. Terror targets or just innocent photos. Speculation intensifies about locations across Greater Manchester.
We've got to be careful. These people are innocent until proven guilty, and it should be remembered that almost two-thirds of those arrested under terrorism acts are released without any charge whatsoever.
Also coming up, the teachers from Manchester considering a boycott of SATs exams.
It's our opinion, and that of the head teachers in primary schools, that SATs are detrimental to the education of children.
And the firefighters who've gone more than the extra mile for charity.
We became aware of a trek that was going out to the Great Wall of China to raise money for the charity, and we decided that it was time for us as managers of Steve's to lead from the front.
Good afternoon. We start with the latest on those terror raids here in Manchester. Searches are carrying on at several properties and there's renewed speculation that shopping centres here in Manchester could have been potential targets. It's despite police urging shoppers not to be put off going about their normal business. With more on this, I'm joined by our reporter Nina Warhurst. Nina, what more can you tell us?
Well, what we do know, James, is as of Wednesday, 14 specific locations across the northwest were raided. Now, forensics teams were looking closely at those locations, but police have said there's no specific intelligence pointing to specific targets. However, that hasn't stopped the media going wild with speculation. And what's concerning is that all of these potential locations are here within Greater Manchester. Of course, Old Trafford, the City of Manchester Stadium, the popular night spot just across from Urbis, the Birdcage and the Arndale Centre, as well as the Trafford Centre. Very, very popular spots over Easter. Now, what a lot of media are also saying today is that this potential threat was going to be over the Easter weekend, when all of these potential targets would have been very busy. Now, if an attack had taken place, that would have meant tens of thousands of casualties across our region. Now, the police have said again that there's no specific intelligence pointing to those locations, but they do say there's no smoke without fire. But Peter Fahey has said, do carry on with your Easter plans as normal, because as he knows, there's no specific intelligence.
Clearly, there has been some speculation about certain locations, particularly in the northwest, concerning this investigation. I would like to say that I have absolutely no hesitation in myself or any member of my family using any of those locations which have been mentioned. Nobody should, in going about their business, should feel any more at threat, either here in the northwest or anywhere in the country as a result of this particular operation. But as I've said, we have to act with the safety of the public very much in mind. We will continue with this investigation. We have a lot of work to do in terms of searches and examining the evidence and the material which has been gathered, and of course interviewing the people involved in due course.
So, police investigations continue. All of those suspects have been detained. And actually, we've been out and about in Manchester City Centre today. We've also had reports from the Trafford Centre and from the Arndale Centre. The suggestion is that the public haven't been taking those threats seriously and have been carrying on with their Easter plans as usual.
Now, moving forward, we know that all of these arrests did happen here in the northwest. What does that mean for the future? Well,
we've been speaking to different terrorism experts, one of them being John Tong. Now, he said that a lot of potential terrorist cells across the northwest will have been under review for a sustained period of time. But he also says there's concern because of the huge student campuses in Greater Manchester and across the northwest. And the implication is that there'll have to be a huge review of student visas.
The fact that all these arrests were made in northwest England, including the Greater Manchester area. And secondly, there's a problem, I think, in terms of university campuses, of which we have a large number in the northwest. I think one of the issues that will be raised generally is about student visas on the back of these arrests, because most of the people who've been arrested were students. They have obtained temporary student visas, and that makes it easier to enter the country than it would under normal circumstances. It's actually very difficult now to be an immigrant to these shores on a permanent basis, but it's a lot easier to enter Britain if you've got a student visa, and I think there will be questions raised about that.
Now, around 10,000 Pakistanis were granted a student visa to the UK last year, but the government have said they have increased the quality of them, including fingerprints and biometric testing. But the Tories have said that that's not enough. They need to be really thorough checks on them. But the Prime Minister has looked to Pakistan and said they should be looking at people coming to study in the UK. Pakistan has bounced it back to the government and said it's the responsibility of the British government to look at potential students coming here to the UK. What, of course, is of major concern, James, is that 99.9% of Pakistanis living in Britain and of British Pakistanis mean absolutely no harm, and there's concern now that there'll be trouble within those communities. OK,
Nina, thanks very much for the update this lunchtime. One of the main teaching unions is starting talks that could lead to them boycotting SATs exams. The National Union of Teachers is discussing the issue at its annual conference. With more on this, here's Beverly Walkton.
By the time pupils enter secondary school, more than a quarter of them will have failed to master basic maths and English. It's a legacy Gordon Brown will have to live with. But now teaching unions have had enough and say SATs are to blame.
Well, the vast majority of parents, and certainly those who've contacted us, don't want pupils of 9 and 10 to be facing really formal tests and the stress that goes along with them.
SATs are taken by 7 and 11-year-olds. It's the government's way to measure school performance. The test results for 11-year-olds make up the league tables, but too much emphasis on passing tests so early on is damaging children's education, say unions.
It's our opinion, and that of the head teachers in primary schools, that SATs are detrimental to the education of children, that they actually cause an awful lot of stress, that they narrow the curriculum that children are learning, and we believe there are much better ways of assessing the pupils' progress.
Parents' views were mixed.
Obviously, it monitors improvement, see how they're progressing throughout their education. So obviously, I think that's a benefit of it, definitely.
I think they're a good idea because they do give sort of a basic standard, but sometimes I think the schools concentrate a bit too much on them.
I'm an accountant, so I love numbers, so I love measurement, so I think it's an absolutely fantastic idea.
But it's not just all about school children.
We've also got motions on workload, which is always an ongoing issue for teachers, relating to them getting time for planning and assessment, and for trying to restrict the amount of hours that they're actually working outside of the classroom, which is still shown to be in excess of 50 a week.
SATs tests for 14-year-olds have already been scrapped following a marking fiasco. And if teacher unions win support during the conference, SATs could be scrapped altogether. Beverly Walkton for Channel M News.
A national day of mourning is being held for those killed in the Italian earthquake. The death toll now stands at 289. A mass funeral is taking place close to the city of L'Aquila, which was worst hit. 205 of the victims will be buried at the ceremony. The Pope has told survivors to be courageous and hopeful. The funeral's taken place of a nightclub doorman who was stabbed to death in Rusholme. Khalil Rafiq died after the attack almost 2 weeks ago. Police believe the 21-year-old may have been attacked after earlier denying someone access to the city centre nightclub mansion where he works. Bouncers in Manchester held a strike last week to raise awareness of the dangers they face while working.
To say to all his family, our hearts go out to him, he was sadly missed, and I hope people will learn from the mistakes.
Robbers have got away with watches worth £500,000 from one of Manchester's most high-profile stores. The raid on Selfridges has been compared to something out of the Italian Job, with a gang of 4 cramming themselves into a small car and driving through a locked glass door. This put them in a walkway next to the shop. They then ran inside, smashed cabinets and grabbed the items before smashing through another door to get out. Labour have held the Moston by-election. Their candidate Rita Taverner polled more than 1,300 votes, 500 more than the BNP, who came second. The Liberal Democrats finished in 3rd place. Now, normally when you go to the pub, it's for a pint or maybe some wine, but now drinkers at the junction in Denshaw could get far more than that. They can pick up bread, a tin of beans, even toilet roll.
Well, we started this venture because the local shop and post office shut on Saturday. It's only like essential things, newspapers. They like it, they think it's funny, especially all the attention it's getting. Some of them nicknamed me Arkwright from Open All Hours. We sell eggs, milk, bread, tins of beans, baby food. Anything people ask us for, we'll try and get. Just starting to spread around the village. We're getting new people in every day for the papers especially. and they're seeing that we're doing this as well. So people are starting to pick things up. We use local suppliers as best we can for milk and eggs, bread. Hopefully it's going to help the business drive forward through the recession. It's the shop side of it isn't particularly a money-making scheme, it's more of a service, and hopefully just help the village and people coming from the village and generate business that way. Quite a close-knit community, so it's all the same regulars, etc. that come in. A bit too early to tell how it's affected the business, but again it's good. Like, we open at 7:45 in the morning now. We started breakfasts as well, so that's building up with builders and passing motorists. So it's early, but we'll see how it goes.
Time now for the next in our series of special reports looking at different things going on across the Easter weekend. On Sunday, Tatton Park will be playing host to a teddy bear's health clinic, and that's just one of the highlights from there.
At Tatton Park there's a number of activities over Easter weekend. We've got a Teddy Bear Easter Festival, so basically there's a teddy theme across the park, at the farm, in the mansions there's lots of teddy displays, including possibility of an invite to a teddy wedding.
We've got Goldilocks and the 3 bears in the cottage. And we've also got Tigger and Eeyore and Piglet coming to join us from Winnie the Pooh.
We've got, in the gardens, there's a picnic trail, which is like a sticker quiz for children. In the stable yard, there's magic shows.
We've got the Teddington Marmalade Trail, and the public are to follow clues around the farm just to show them where the treasure is. So there's lots of marmalade pots going to be scattered around for the trail.
And we've also got Build-A-Bear Workshop coming down to do numerous kids' activities.
There is actually going to be a teddy bear check-up health centre up in the stable yard at Tatton. So all the children, please bring your teddies and get your teddy bears checked out.
There's an awful lot going on over the park.
The farm is brilliant for all the children. The animals really make it at Easter because we'll have the lambs, which are just the onset of spring, and the ewes are all inside, all available for the public to see. And we'll have piglets and lots of young animals and chicks as well. We've also got a hatchery that's just been set up at the farm. We're actually incubating eggs, so we'll have lots of Easter chicks available to see as well, and also some Easter bunnies if we're lucky.
I mean, there's so much to do here. I mean, families can literally just pay £4.50, come in and enjoy 1,000 acres of parkland. But we'd love people to get involved in the activities. If they want to pay a little bit extra, there's absolutely loads to do here for a full day out.
So if you're looking for something to do on Easter Sunday, it's a definite must to come to the farm and Tatton Park and join in with all the fun and the teddy bears.
Former Chelsea boss Jose Mourinho will not face charges over claims he assaulted a Manchester United supporter. The Portuguese manager was said to have attacked a fan after his Inter Milan side lost at Old Trafford last month. Police reviewed CCTV footage of it, but it was decided not to press ahead with charges. Let's have a look now at the lunchtime sports headlines. Checking those for us is Nina Warhurst.
Thank you, James. First up today, the Manchester City striker Craig Bellamy is set to miss the next 2 games after suffering a recurrence of a knee injury last night. Bellamy is having a scan today, but is expected to be ruled out of Sunday's game with Fulham and of the second leg of the UEFA Cup tie with Hamburg. Another casualty from last night's 3-1 defeat was Benjani, who ruptured a muscle. Sean Wright-Phillips and Vincent Kompany are also doubtful for the Fulham match, but Nigel de Jong is available. Sir Alex Ferguson believes experience will be the key when it comes to naming his successor as Manchester United manager. Ferguson has tended to shy away from talk of his retirement plans, but he feels his replacement will need to be vastly experienced. Fergie says he's glad it's not his decision to appoint his successor. We will hear from Sir Alex Ferguson in our sports roundup at 5 o'clock. On to Wigan Athletic now, and Amir Zaki won't play for Wigan against Arsenal tomorrow, even if he's fit. The striker suffered a hamstring injury on international duty with Egypt, resulting in an unauthorised absence that left Steve Bruce angry. He's having talks now with the player to discuss his future. Now, Bolton are unchanged for tomorrow's game at Chelsea, while there are 2 games on this afternoon. Oldham will visit Carlisle, with Joe Royle planning for next season, even though he doesn't know whether he'll be in charge or not. In League 2, Bury are at home to Shrewsbury, and in the Super League, St Helens went top of the table with a 12-9 win over Wigan. That's all from me for now. We'll have more later in our evening news with Ian.
Thanks very much, Nina. There's plenty more to come on Friday's Lunchtime News. We'll be speaking to firefighters who've travelled to the other side of the world to raise money for charity, and another idea of something to do this coming Easter Monday.
It's seen as a family event because Easter Monday, people don't often want to travel very far, and it's a great event to bring the kids to. If there's been a lot of rain in the last few days before, the dam is a bit more swollen, so the ducks move a bit quicker. If it's been quite dry, they can be quite slow, and it also depends on the wind.
You're watching Channel M's Lunchtime News. Don't forget, if you go online to channelm.co.uk, you can see more of our main headlines on there right now. We speak to the parents of a young girl who's lost her fight with cancer this week. And check out all the pictures from those terror raids. Our reporter was on the scene in the first few hours after police moved in. That's at channelm.co.uk. Next, firefighters are used to climbing walls to put out fires. Now a group from Bolton have put those skills to good use, raising money for a colleague.
Now, you may well remember last June, Bolton firefighter Stephen Morris lost some of his fingers as a result of burns sustained in a rescue attempt where her grandmother and her granddaughter very sadly died. Well, his colleagues here at Bolton Fire Station decided they wanted to do something to raise some money for the firefighters' charity, and he decided to go all the way to China. Tell us all about it.
That's right, yeah. We were asking people within Bolton to try to raise money for the firefighters' charity so that Steve could receive the support that he would require for the rest of his life. And we became aware of a trek that was going out to the Great Wall of China to raise money for the charity. And we decided that it was time for us as managers of Steve's to lead from the front, and that's why we took part in the trek.
And how was it?
It was absolutely fantastic. I have to say, we would much rather not be in this position, but we are where we are, and we took the opportunity to take part in the trek.
You did raise an awful lot of money. Let us know how much that was.
We've raised £25,000 up to now between the 3 of us. All of that money goes to a total of £70,000, which the trek raised, and that money will go into the firefighters' charity and he'll be there to support Steve for the rest of his life.
And finally, how's he doing? He has now come out of hospital, hasn't he?
Yeah, thankfully Steve came out of hospital a couple of weeks ago. He's at home now, he's doing well. He's got a long road to recovery, but he's a very strong-willed person, and we wish him all the best. He knows that we're always there to support him, and given the character that Steve is, I'm sure that he'll keep on continuing to improve.
So an incredible journey in more ways than one, and an incredible amount of money raised by firefighters here in Bolton. If you want to help out and donate, the website's below.
The 100th anniversary of the first all-British flight is being marked here in Manchester. The Museum of Science and Industry is celebrating the landmark date by building a working replica to demonstrate how the original one managed to lift off.
We have 7 Avro aircraft on display, from a replica of the 1908 biplane to his record-making 1909 triplane. It was British aviation, and this is the real beginning of British aviation. One of the things we're commemorating this year is the centenary of Elliot Verton Rowe's first flight.
First sight, you'd say it was very similar. The wheels are similar, the wings are similar, the fuselage is similar, the engine and propeller are similar. But if you look closely, you will see that there are a lot of things that have to be stronger and more robust generally. That's in the detail. Time is never on our side. It's taken probably 8 months longer than I ever thought that it would. The plan when it's finished here is to take it all to bits, put it on a lorry and take it to an airfield and to try and fly it. And when that was done, assuming we achieve that, then our job is over.
Next, if you're looking for something to do come Easter Monday, Lim Round Table organise a charity duck race. Not real ducks, but plastic ones, and it draws people from miles around. We've been along to find out more about it.
The duck race has been happening on Easter Monday in Lymm for about 25 years.
It's a community event in the village of Lymm. We close the roads down for the day, shut the village off, and we have stalls, rides, food and drinks, and most importantly the duck race.
It was always seen as a family event because Easter Monday, people don't often want to travel very far, and it's a great event to bring the kids to. And over the years, that's really how it's remained, but we've tried to grow it, I suppose, in the sort of the modern sense of trying to build up the momentum. We get corporate ducks sponsored by local businesses and things, so we've worked very hard on trying to get a greater amount of money by getting larger ducks that are running a separate race, thrown at the same time but running a separate race, and trying to therefore maximise the amount of money that we can make for charity by doing that. The duck race traditionally would make maybe £3,000 or £4,000.
We have a meeting once every 2 months and donate money to as and when to local charities, also national events. If there's a catastrophe anywhere in the world, we also send money out to that.
I hesitate on how long it takes because it depends on the weather. So if there's been a lot of rain in the last few days before, the dam is a bit more swollen, so the ducks move a bit quicker. If it's been quite dry, they can be quite slow, and it also depends on the wind. It probably takes about 45 minutes to an hour.
There's a lot of things going on in the village. There's the local guide scout groups, local community centres and schools having small stalls and tombolas. There's a hog roast in the village. There's burger vans, there's rides for children, a little fun fair. So we're trying to get a lot on and pack people in all day. The duck race itself starts at 12.
And the road will be closed until 4, so the fairground rides and that sort of thing will be here between 10:30 and 4, and lots of other sort of stalls and things.
There's price of the winners, it's money, it tends to be £100 for the first duck, £50, £25. Also Easter eggs, bottles of wine, box of chocolates, you know.
Lymm's a beautiful location for this sort of thing, a couple of local pubs, and I would urge you to come down. It's good fun, good family day, and the kids always enjoy it.
Nothing to do on Easter Monday. Come down to the Lymm Duck Race. It's a fantastic event. It's a good day out for all the family. There's rides for the children, food put on, drinks, and an awfully good duck race.
Weather across Greater Manchester, and it's been a mainly cloudy day so far. That's how the afternoon's shaping up to continue as well. Lots of rain showers around in places. They'll be heaviest as we move across towards the Pennines. 1 or 2 sunny spells in places, but generally feeling rather grey and cloudy. Highs of around about 12 degrees. Staying dry overnight as well, and a little bit brighter tomorrow. Taking a look across the next 5 days, the best of the weather's going to be on Sunday with plenty of sunny spells around and highs of 13 degrees. The rest of the day is looking pretty showery and cloudy. This is Channel M, our top stories. Searches are carrying on at the properties raided by anti-terror officers here in Manchester. They're looking for clues over any potential targets, and it's reported they're examining photos recovered from there. The National Union of Teachers is discussing boycotting SATs exams. The issue is one of the main concerns at this year's annual conference, which is just getting underway. And a national day of mourning is underway in Italy for the victims of the earthquake there. 289 people have now died, and the bodies of 205 of them are being buried. We'll have more on all those stories in our early evening news from 5 o'clock tonight. But from me and the Lunchtime team, bye-bye for now.